And here we go. It's Drop the Mic Monday. Mike Eccleston here live once again on the Legends Podcast Network on LennyMelnickFantasySports.com, a network that's growing more and more each day, and I'm lucky enough to be part of. Thank you to all who are listening and all those in the chat room. Come on in, take your shoes off, grab a drink, relax. I have a lot on my plate, so let's have at it. Now, before I start my show, I would like to acknowledge, and I'm sure most of you guys are already aware, that David Ortiz, Big Papi, was shot in the back at a bar in Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. He was hospitalized, went through surgery, and last I've heard, he's now stable. ESPN reported that Ortiz suffered liver damage, and doctors had to remove part of his intestines, his colon, and gallbladder. Scary moment in the baseball world, as he's one of the most famous Boston Red Sox of all time, one of the more popular baseball players of all time. On the field, he was obviously tremendous, a World Series champion, one of the greatest power hitters and clutch players I've ever seen on a diamond. And then there's off the field, he's loved and has an excellent reputation. You never want to hear about this kind of stuff happening. And when you hear about it happening to someone who's given so much back to his community in the Dominican Republic, it's just sickening. Obviously, I hope for the best for him in his recovery, but unfortunately, I feel like he's going to struggle with that. Now, in other news, there are certain things in life that you just strive to be. You should just strive for. Things you marvel at, model after, in order to one day accomplish. First of all, you need passion in anything you do. Secondly, you want to have success. And then you want to do everything in your power to get even better so you can maintain that success. Sustainability is just as important as having success in the first place. The Houston Astros organization strives for success. As a fan, I'm jealous of that. A great organization that just seems to try to get better and better. There is no such thing as good enough. Something that we need to learn. That's what's bothered me about the Mets mentality for decades. Pretty much going, that they're going all in this year. Sort of. It's like a half in, half out kind of deal. They were talking about that this year. They were going all in. We're gonna go win now. We're gonna do everything we can. There's almost like an asterisk after that because do they ever really go all in? Not really. That's what I've talked about with the Chicago Cubs after they won their World Series in 2016. They got comfortable. The Astros won the World Series a couple years ago. They've built their sturdy, steady team with a core of stars such as Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, George Springer. Those are their core when it comes to the position players. Those guys are all MVP caliber players. I think, obviously, Jose Altuve and Alex Bregman are a little bit ahead of those guys, but Correa and Springer are both great players in their own right. Then they go out and acquire top arms like Justin Verlander and Garrett Cole. They want to get better, they go out and get more than what they need. Don't just go out and get enough. When you want to go out and win, sometimes it doesn't work out. But the thing is that if you want to continue or you want to go have success, that's what you have to do. That's what winners do. That's how you succeed, and that's how you continue and maintain success on a consistent basis. A kid looks like he's ready to come up and help the team this year. I don't care if he's on the 40-man roster or not. We're going to find a way to get him up here to the big league level. I've talked about him sporadically on my shows. I've been clamoring for Houston to call him up. And here he is. The Houston Astros have called up outfielder / first baseman, 21-year-old kid, Yordan Alvarez. Air Yordan. Yorgon. Your bomb. Whatever you want to call him. The rich continue to get richer. This kid absolutely demolished minor league pitching. It got to the point where teams were just intentionally walking him. He slashed 343, 443, and 742. 23 home runs and 71 RBIs in just 56 games at the AAA level. It's just unheard of. Everybody was talking about Kyle Tucker for the last couple years. Yordan Alvarez leapfrogged him. They have two of the best prospects in all of baseball currently. This kid has been compared to Ryan Howard, which is one hell of a compliment for a young player. And of course, Alvarez comes up, he bats fifth, and he hits a monster home run to dead center in his first major league game, in his second at-bat. He hit a ball over 420 feet. See, this is why the Houston Astros team is still my favorite to win the World Series. The best players will play, and we refuse to sit on our hands. The message stays the same. Their bullpen has improved greatly. Their rotation is always formidable with multiple aces. Even Wade Miley looks good with the Astros. You see guys that just kind of come in and you see them kind of get better. Brad Peacock, he was in the bullpen. He was stuck in the bullpen last year. He's come into the rotation and he's been awesome. The Astros have plenty of starting pitching. Their bullpen is, it's fantastic. It just seems to get better. They lose Ken Giles, but they add arms from everywhere, and they wind up having a great bullpen. They have championship swagger. They have an excellent star-driven lineup that has added a new young slugger into the mix. And they're exciting. Obviously Alex Bregman after he hits a home run, the stare in the dugout. There are reasons why their well-coached A.J. Hinch has that team playing great. But and to be honest, Knowing this team and the way they continue to try to get better every day, don't be surprised at all if they call up Kyle Tucker at some point this season as well. I mean, when you think about it, they have George Springer, they have Josh Reddick, they can use Alvarez as a DH. They still have spots. And I know that people talk about, now that they called up Alvarez, there's no way, Kyle Tucker ends up getting... I could see both of them getting called up. At some point later on this year, I can see Kyle Tucker playing in a Houston Astros uniform. The American League has the designated hitter. They have flexibility. And the way they play, the way they run their organization... It's a whatever it takes mentality. One team I've continuously talked about are it seems like they've been basement dwellers in their division in the AL West for a long time now. With just atrocious pitching. Just they don't have any starting pitching at all. Their bullpen isn't very good outside of, Leclerc going into this season. The Texas Rangers, under new manager Chris Woodward, they seem like a new team out there. It's fun watching a team who was expected to be in the basement once again. It seems like they've just been declining and declining more and more every year. Watching a team who was expected to be in the basement of the standings fight their way and prove every single naysayer wrong. The Rangers haven't been relevant in years. Ever since they lost, back-to-back World Series. People weren't really sure, and they were getting older and now new guys were coming in and out. They just didn't have the pitching staff at all. And their division was good, but not great. Like, they had, obviously, the Astros who were moving up. Seattle was good, but, obviously after last year, they started to tail off because of, all the moves they made. The Angels, obviously, Mike Trout keeps them afloat. They're not great, but they're probably a little bit below a 500 kind of team. But they're just all better. Oakland, and the way they played last year and the way they're expected to play. Obviously, Chris Davis and Matt Chapman and Matt Olson and a lot of these guys, a lot of these power hitters. Now they're going to get Jesus Luzardo coming in. He's making his minor league debut after being hurt. He was going to make the opening day roster. Frankie Montas playing well. There are a lot of teams in the American League West that are that they were considered better than the Texas Rangers. But Chris Woodward has come in and done an excellent job with this team. You just check the standings all of a sudden, look over, and they're 34-30. 34-30. We're into June, and they're above 500. Second place in the AL West, over teams like the Athletics, the Angels, and the Mariners. Even in yesterday's loss, and this is what gets me more than just about anything else. Even when they're losing games, you see them fight. They have fight in them. The Rangers were down big. I think they were down 8-2 at some point. And then they only wound up losing by 1 run. They lost 9-8 late in the game. And they came back like that without Joey Gallo in the